Let's go live.
Okay, we are live. Welcome everyone to the Introduction to Unity workshop at the Engineer Cafe. Here we are. Welcome everyone online, welcome everyone in person. I'm Laurie, Community Manager at the Engineer Cafe, and this is Adam Stone, who's going to be teaching us all about Unity, showing us
Not all about
things.
it. I'll do my best. Hi, my name's Adam.
Yep.
Nice to meet you. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
So, I'm excited to get started, so let's jump in.
Okay, straight away. Okay, let's see. I hope you've all got Unity on your computer. Man, my voice is really loud.
Yeah?
Echoey.
Okay.
It's making me very self-conscious. Okay, my name's Adam Stone, and this is the Engineer Cafe, and we're going to do a face-to-face and a live stream introduction to Unity 3D. Now, I hope you've all prepared your computers. The outline today, I'd like to help you make and publish an app using Unity 3D.
What are we going to use to publish the app?
That's a great question, Ori. We're going to publish this as a WebGL. Unity can publish apps and games and software for a bunch of platforms, including iPhones and Androids, and desktops for PCs and Macs, and also virtual reality on the Oculus, and I think someone might have even managed to make games for the Nintendo Switch. But the easiest one, probably the most accessible, is a WebGL app, which just runs in the browser. Unfortunately, it doesn't run on the browser on a smartphone, but that's okay. This is an introduction. You don't need to know anything about Unity really, other than how to use a keyboard, and hopefully you'll understand my English, and you've got the software installed. I've asked people to install the Unity Engine editor on their computer, and also C# editor, Visual Studio I recommend. And also I hope you've created an account with itch.io.
Yes. So I'm going to be on the side kind of following along with the workshop, and I'm actually I'm a little bit behind already because I'll just switch over to mine. I'm installing the Unity editor as we speak. I thought I installed it, but I had installed the Unity Hub.
Well, that's a good start.
So I installed the Unity Hub, but you also need to install the editor, so you can use the Hub to install the editor.
That's right.
Yes. And this is the itch.io, where we're going to make an account to publish the game as well. I'll throw it back to you.
Groovy. Okay, you're downloading. That's excellent.
Okay, so...
Okay, so, well, I guess first things first, when you're... This is what the hub looks like on my desktop. And, okay, what we'll do first is, on the left-hand side, you've got projects, installs, blah, blah, and blah, blah. Installs is where you can manage your different editor versions. So you should have at least one editor in there, and that's what probably Laurie is doing right now. Yes. I've downloaded, I'm using 2021.3.10 F1 editor, but they're all pretty much good. In the project, on the left, you press the project button there, and then top right, new project. All right, cool, you're doing it. Okay, let's press new project. And you'll have to make sure that you remember where you store it. The bottom right, you can choose where you want to store it. So I'm going to make a new folder on the desktop. What should I call it? I'll call it today's project. All right, on my desktop. Today's project. And I'll select that folder. Oh, and now the folder's selected. Now I've got to give it a name. Project 1. How about that? Create the project. And that'll take just a few seconds ticking over and setting up the bits and pieces on it. You can call your project whatever you want. One other thing to have at the ready is this Google Drive document. There's code snippets in there that we'll copy and paste from. Make it a bit bigger.
So there's code snippets. Where can we find them?
Let's see. Oh, there's a link, I believe, on the Compass
event page.
Event page, yeah.
Let me find it.
Compass.
To switch to mine. I'm just looking at the event page here. I'm trying to. Where can I find the?
Oh, did I not put it in there? Can I edit it?
No, not sure.
No, it's not in there. I do.
Oh, maybe let's copy and paste it on now.
Okay, how do we do that?
Oops.
I'm not completely familiar with this interface. Edit this event. Let's go there. Install. Okay, I'll put it right at the top of this here. Refresh. Can you see that link now?
Let me have a look. So click save, and then we'll see it. I think. Yeah. Okay. I've got the.
You got it.
Got the link.
Okay. So then we're on the same page. Scroll down past the white space. There's the outline. There's the requirements, and we're currently here installing our editor, and we should install Visual Studio 2. I've done that, so I'm going to skip that. I've also made my account on itch.io, so I'm going to skip that. Right, so today's 2-hour workshop. I'm timetabling it like this. We're going to make a new project, and I'll introduce you to the editor, and we'll make a quick hello world using some UI, user interface. I'll tell you about scene management, and then we will go 3D, a very simple 3D. We'll make some 3D objects using rigid bodies, which use physics, so things bounce off each other like in the real world. And then we'll control those using the keyboard, and hopefully we'll have some kind of scrappy app that we can publish on itch.io. Okay, so back to the Unity. Here we go. This is what Unity looks like now. Have we got a screen like that? Everybody, let's introduce ourselves to the Unity editor.
So this is the default blank
Yep.
project.
You can totally rearrange the layout of this editor as you see fit. Have we all got that? Shall I move on? How are you doing? You've got it? Great.
I'm still downloading.
You're still downloading. Okay, I'll go slowly and just introduce things. The top left, what do we call this? This is called the hierarchy. Each of these is like a little tab. You can click on the tab to see what's going on. The default layout, there's a hierarchy. Top left, there's a scene. This shows you what it all looks like in 3D. The game, this is what it will look like on your device. The inspector, top right, that will show you the details about the things in your Unity project. Down the bottom left, we've got the project itself and a console. Console will give you the output from your program in text. Okay, so let's see. In more detail. I'm just going to move it around the way I like it. I like to have try grabbing a tab and moving it around the page. You can see how you can rearrange it. Whoopsie. It takes a bit of getting used to it. There we go. I like my hierarchy in the middle. I like my game on the right. Uh-oh. Over there, I have my inspector and my game on the right. In the middle, I have my hierarchy. On the left, I have my scene and console. So you can see there's a scene and a console in the same box. And then I have my project underneath my hierarchy. So you can arrange it however you like, but this is how I like it. This makes me comfortable. So I've got it in threes. On the left, I've got my scene. in the console. In the middle, my hierarchy and my project. But one other thing I like to do is, how do I do that? One column layout. That's how I like it. Okay, now I'm comfortable. All right, let's get going, guys. So, in the sample scene, let's have the left box on the scene, and we're looking at the hierarchy in here. What shall we do first? I'm just going to slip over to the Google Doc to see what we're going to do. New project, done. Introduction to the editor. Like I said, there's all these different boxes, but we'll get used to them. I'll introduce them in more detail as we go through. The project, as I said, is where you can find your assets. Let's look at that. This is the project. In here, little folders. The assets are where you'll keep, the assets folders where you'll keep your assets, such as scenes, game objects, files, text files, JPEGs, all the sort of stuff that you'll use in your app. That's where you can find them. And you can drag and drop them around the place. Under that, we've got the hierarchy. This shows you the relationship. When you put assets into here, into your hierarchy, that will show you the relationship about them all. Currently in this sample scene, you can see we've got a main camera and a directional light. That's the default. A main camera is very necessary. A directional light is good for 3D stuff, but that comes default. So we click on the main camera. On the right-hand side, we see a whole lot of details about that camera, and we can expand each little component of those game objects, like that, location, etc. And you can also add components to things down the bottom there. Okie dokie. So now we're learning about the hierarchy and the inspector to have a close look at it. And next we are going to look at the scene. Let's look at the scene. This is used for the layout and the visual representation of the current scene. In the left-hand box, this lovely blue sky. You can see at the top it says 2D. If I press that, it goes 3D. Is that right? It toggles between 2D and 3D. In 3D mode, you can, which button is it? Is it that one? That one there. On a Mac, it's the Option key. If you hold the Option key, you can move around in 3D. There's a whole lot of little shortcuts for that scene that I'll show you in a second, but I'm just introducing each part slowly. The inspector, I just showed you that, how it shows you the details of the components. The console. Now, when we write scripts, we use C#. Console, I've put the console up here, top left. There's nothing in here yet, but when a script runs, if you have any debugs, any error messages, anything that's going on in your script, this is where you can put little breadcrumbs. You can find your way around the code in there. And last one, the game. As I mentioned before, this is what your game will look like. Okay, let's make something, shall we, guys? We'll start with a button. Let's start with a button, everybody. So if we go to the the hierarchy, and here, and we do a right click or a two-finger click or whatever it does to get this menu up, you've got cut and copy, duplicate, delete, create empty, 3D objects, effects, light, audio, video, UI is what we want. Go to the UI, and another menu pops up. Go across there, scroll down to button. Find something that says button. For some reason, there's only the TextMesh Pro button, but that's fine. It's still a button. Okay. We have to import the TMP Essentials. That's fine. That'll just take a couple of seconds. Don't bother importing the examples or extras. I think that's done. Ready to go. Look at that. So when you have, I'm going to move it back to 2D now. Okay, because I'm going to make a 2D UI interface. Okay, so if you look in the hierarchy, there's now something called a canvas, and then, with a little triangle on the left, and you can shrink it or expand it. And in the canvas, under the canvas is button, and that's what we've just added. Every time you add a UI element, it'll automatically, if there's no canvas, it'll automatically provide a canvas for you. The canvas is what all the UI elements are laid out on. If you double-click the canvas, pop, pop, like that, it'll zoom out so you can see the whole canvas. Okay, and on the right-hand side in the game, you can see a button down the bottom left. This is what it will look like on your device or the final product, okay? I don't like the button right down there, so I want to move it somewhere else. There's a variety of ways to do it. There's many ways to skin a cat. You can take those little blue edges and move it around like that. On your keyboard, while your arrow is over the scene, on your keyboard you can hit the Q, the W, the E, the R. Those 4 little shortcuts are pretty good. The Q will move the scene around like that, so you can navigate around. What will the W do? The W will give you a little green arrow and a red arrow, and that way you can move a component around the screen. So how about putting it wherever you like? What does the E do? Oh, the E is for rotating things. We'll skip that for now. That's a 3D thing. We're just doing 2D at the moment. What does the R do? Oh, this is for shrinking and expanding. So the Q, W, E, R will help you navigate and adjust the properties of the elements in your scene. Okay, great. We've got ourselves a button. Let's make the button do something. I'm just going to flip back to here to my notes. Right. So, buttons are cool. In fact, hey, completely forgot to introduce to you the play button. At the top, there's a little triangle. That's the play button. Why don't we press play, see what happens? It's just a button in our scene. Does a little bit of building. I'm going to go down here, and on the right-hand side, it will behave just like your device will. I'm going to press the button, see what happens. Nothing happens. Oh, it changes color a little bit. That's nice. You can change the component values of components in runtime, but they won't be saved. So I'm going to stop it by pressing the triangle button again. It'll stop the game. My one, did you notice it goes green? If you want yours to do that too, it's not necessary, but it's handy. Up here in the preferences, where is it? The colors, play mode tint. So you can change the color of that, whatever you like. That way you know when the game is running. Pretty useful thing to know. In the preferences, colors. On the right, general play mode tint. So when my screen goes green, I know I'm running the program, I'm not running the game. So I'm going to stop running the game now. Another thing to note is sample scene, there's a little asterisk next to it. That means it's not saved. So I'm going to press Command S, saved. Always save your stuff. Okay, so we click on the button, and then on the right-hand side, that's highlighted, on the right-hand side, Inspector, and we can see all the details about that component. I'm going to close them all down because it's quite overwhelming. Let's say, well, and I showed you how to move this with your mouse, the button. You can move it with your mouse on the left screen, or there's another way to do it over here with the anchors. You can actually manually put in values into these boxes if you really want to anchor them or do it mathematically, right? I'm going to close the rect transform, and I'm going to go down to the button. I click on that, and you can see the transition, target graphic, normal color, highlighted color. That's nice. Let's change that to green. Green's a nice color. Pressed color, when you press the button, I want it to turn blue. There's a little color chart there. You can choose the colors. Selected, you can change these different colors to anything you want just to see what they do. I'm going to try running it again. And now when my mouse hovers over it, it changes color. And then when I click it, it changes to orange, because that's how I wanted it to be. And that's a button that doesn't do anything. Let's make it do something. So back in the sample scene, in the hierarchy, the top middle box, right click and create empty. Okay, and that's just a game object, default name game object. One more time, right click down to create empty, and you get a game object. You only need one. Everything in Unity at its absolute minimum is a game object. And they all have the absolute minimum, a position, a rotation, and a scale. I don't think you can get rid of that. That will always be there. You can remove and add other components, but this will always be here. Right, this game object, you can rename it by double-clicking it or whatever, or hit the return. I'm going to call this my manager. And to this, I'm going to add a script. So to make sure the computer knows what I'm talking about, I'm going to click my manager, which is an empty game object. And on the right-hand side, I'm going to add a component. And the component I'm going to add, you can just start typing it now. I might call it manager1, just so it's different from the game object. Be thoughtful about your script names. It's kind of tricky to change them later, but manager1 should be okay. And then just hit return, and it should just create a new script. Oh, this is the script you want to name your script this? Yes, I do. Create and add. Okay, now I've got a script, a C# script. Just loading up the script assemblies. Right, let's make a program, shall we, guys? In this box, manager1, if I click it, you can see it now. It's appeared in my assets. I can double click it from there. I always click it from here. So I'm going to do that right now. Double click. Did I double click it? Double click. And it's going to load up the Visual Studio if everything's gone well. We're now in Visual Studio. If you've installed it correctly, it should just go straight into it. If there's a hiccup, then we're going to need to fix that. How we're doing. Great, you've got a manager script there. If you double click that, you've done that? Looks like you're using, I don't know. Yeah, it should still work. It should still work. I mean, you can use a text editor too if you want. I like Visual Studio. It's very nice. It's very intuitive and helps you out all the way. Command-Shift+ will make it bigger. And this.
I think I'm following along. Just
yeah.
show how it looks online with some of the defaults.
Ah, cool. Show and tell time.
Yes, I think this is my kind of button.
Yep.
And then I made a manager right here.
Yep.
And then I made a script. And the script is in, here's my Visual Studio Code editor.
Groovy.
My favorite editor, so you can see that. So that's all. Excellent. Is that all correct?
It's all tickety-boo. It looks pretty good.
Nice.
All right then. Okay, so you know about these comments, these two slashes, that means you don't need them. So practice deleting something. Delete that. I wonder if I need to update. These two voids, methods I guess they're called, are standard. They come. There are a couple of others, but these are the two main ones that we use whenever we write a script for Unity. Start is called once at the beginning of when the scene is open. When you press play, the first thing it does is it looks for a start and it does something in there. Update is called every frame refresh, so like 60 times a second. So that's what you'll use the update for 3D movement action that needs to be updated constantly. Start is just called one time. So why don't we put something in the start button, in the start method. Some people use debug.log like that, with some parentheses, a couple of chon-chons, hello world. Why is that underlined? Is that right? There we go, debug.log. I always use print. Uh-oh. Hello world. Don't forget the semicolon at the end. Okay, so try typing that in. Try saving it. And we'll see where that goes. Where does the hello world end up? I'm not sure what the exact, I think debug.log is more for debugging, but print will work just as well. It'll show up in the console in a sec. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Unity. Takes a second while it builds that or reloads those script assemblies. I'm going to get my console ready on the left-hand side. We've got scene and console. I'm going to hit the console, getting ready for my hello world, and I'm going to hit the play button. When I hit the play button, the game scene screen will automatically open, so I'm not going to worry about that for now. I'm just going to press play. I press play, thinks about it. There we go. Straight away you can see up in the top left here, hello world and hello world. And you can select those, and I'll give you a bit more information down the bottom. Hello world. Okay, very simple program. And it tells you what's at the time that it called that, okay? All right, let's level stuff up a bit. I'm just going to go back to my...
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course you can.
So I'm making a empty object.
Yep.
And I called it like manager.
Yep.
And then I added the script that I wrote before.
Yep.
And then when I... Oh, hang on. So why did it disappear just then?
Why did what disappear?
So the manager object disappeared just then.
Huh.
And it keeps disappearing, I'm not sure why.
That's very unusual.
Click play again. Okay.
Watching.
Okay, logging. And then I stop. Okay, it's still there. I think maybe I was creating the manager when I was in game mode. And
That'd be why.
Disappearing.
Nothing gets saved when you're running a game.
So that's a very tricky thing to kind of notice. I think you mentioned that, but I didn't realize.
That's right. If you want to be sure that you're not in game modes, like I said, I recommend going to preferences.
Yes.
And changing the color so that it goes all pink or green.
Good idea.
The game scene, the game screen that shows you what it will look like won't be tinted. Right. All the other boxes will be tinted.
Yes.
You can see it's still nice blue and white.
Good idea.
There. All right, very handy to know. Okay, I'm going to go back to my Google Docs, see what I'm doing next. Okay, I think it's time to learn about scenes. Now, if you've studied drama or anything like that, this is like a stage. Down here are your projects, and you can see in there is a sample scene. And you can put that anywhere you want, but the default is it's in a folder called scenes. If we right-click around there, anywhere in this box, right-click, and then at the top is create, and somewhere in there, create a scene. I see it. Can you see it? Right in the middle. There it is. From the top, folder, C# script, scrolling down until you find scene. So when you're ready, hit that scene, and you've just created a new scene. I'm going to call this new scene. Why not? We'll go with the defaults. And I'm going to put that new scene into my scenes folder. And if I don't want to see the scenes, I just close the folder. And then I open them up again, and they're still there. Okay, so now I've got 2 scenes in my app. You can have as many scenes as you want. How can I explain a scene? Actually, I'm going to call sample scene. I'm just going to put 0 on the front. That's okay. Ignore reload. .jdme. And I'm going to call my new scene number 1. It's going to be my page 2. Okay. Sample scene is going to be like my menu. And then when I want to go to another scene in the game, like 3D mode, or now we're going into the cave, well, you can separate your scenes however you want. But it just means a carte blanche, a fresh start. So my sample scene, let's make it a bit more pretty, shall we? Let's put some other things in there in our sample scene. I've got the canvas there with one button in there. Let's try putting in a text. So we scroll down to UI, and then on the right-hand side of the UI, things like images. Oh, we could put an image in there, couldn't we? Text would be a good thing. Let's put a text box in there. Text Mesh Pro. There we go. And again, you can use those QWERT to move around. navigate, stretch and pull. No, that's not moving. Why is that not moving? That's strange. Oh, I've got to highlight the text, not the canvas. There we go. If you don't like the color white, then over on the right hand side, as long as you've got the text highlighted, the components for that text are on the right hand side. Text Mesh Pro, open that up, and in there you can find colors. What's a nice color? Red, blue, any color you want. I'm just going to go black. Why not? Black will be fine. You can bold it. I mean, I don't have to explain to you how to use these things. It's like Microsoft Word, nearly. You can centerize them, left justify them. You can bold them, italic them, underline them. This is an interesting one. It's called font size. Obviously, you can change the size of the font, bigger and smaller. Underneath that is auto size, which means the text will fit the box, like so. The bigger the box, the bigger the text. The more text in there, the smaller it will get. So that's just auto size. That's quite handy. Welcome. Whatever you want to call it. So that's the text element. Now, what else can we do? We can put an image in there. Let's try doing an image. So we click on the canvas or anywhere around there. Go down to UI. Click on the image. Now, what would be a great image? There we go. There's an image I've already got. Look, I should have prepared an image, I guess. Clip art. Try putting an image in there. How about a frog? That's cute. Save the image as on the desktop. Move back to there, and it's simply a matter of dragging that saved image into the project. Now it's in there. You will need to do one little thing though. You click on that image once, and then on the right hand side, oh, let's just see what happens if I drop it in there. Nothing? What happens if I click the image? Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll see if I can just drop that on there. No, it doesn't like it. So what you have to do to make sure your images usable is to click on that one time, and on the right hand side, the texture type, yes, there it is. In the inspector, you'll go down to Sprite, 2D, and UI. And you click that one time, and then you click elsewhere, anywhere, and it will apply that. Now you can use that image, I believe. Let's drag that, drop that there. That didn't work. Why didn't that work? Oh, what? I've seen that error message before. Must be something crazy about that file type. I'm going to try another image. Default down to Sprite 2D. Apply. Another way to put an image. Oh, let me just quickly introduce you to the idea of these hierarchies. It's called hierarchy because the relationship of these game objects is quite important. Currently, the image that I put in there is a child of the text. So if I close the text, boom, the image disappears. Open it, and for some reason the image is now a child of the text. So if I highlight the text and move the text around, the image will go with it. I want to separate those, so I'm going to click on the image and drag it out of that relationship, but still a child of the canvas, as all UI elements should be. They should all be children of the canvas. So now when I click on the text and move it around, the image stays where I left it. Now, trying to put some prettiness on that image, might make it a bit bigger. Image. We click on the image, and in the inspector, the third one down is image and source image. If you click on that, And here you can see the images that are available. And for some reason, it doesn't like that image. I'm not sure why. I want to make a new folder for my images. Pics. Housekeeping. I might make a little folder for my scripts too. Keep it all tidy. Scripts. So I've got my manager one as the only script. That's now my script folder. That keeps things all nice and tidy. I'm not sure why that's not working. Should be right there. Okay, well there are some default images that you can play with if you want to. We're going to stay on target right now. You can also put a tint on your images too, using the little colour wheel. I'm going to get back to that image thing in a little bit because I want to get back to the job at hand, is scene management. So this is our welcome scene, our menu. This is the first scene that will be played, and I want to press a button to go to the next scene. That's what we're trying to do here. So I'm just going to rearrange some of the things in my hierarchy. I'm going to bring, where's my manager gone? My manager's disappeared too. How peculiar. Manager, add a component, manager one. Okay, that script's still there. All right, let's make this button work, shall we? Double click on the manager, open up our script. Now we go back to the Google Docs. We're going to make sure we need these, what do you call these, Laurie? These classes, libraries. Let's copy and paste all of those because I think we're going to need them all, and just put them at the top of our C# script. Why is that open twice? All right.
Maybe they're grayed out because they're not currently being used?
Yeah, that'll be
Is that
right. But when we use them, they will be no longer grey. Make sure that's saved properly. Yeah, it's cool there. There it is, all there. Okay, I forget what you call it. Are they called classes that we're going to be using as a scene management, Unity engine.scene management. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, input fields. I'm sorry, we forgot to do input fields too, didn't we?
I have a very basic question.
Yeah. I'll take it.
I'm looking at this button, and I've made the button. Oh, I think I've answered my own question. I was thinking, how do I change the text in the button? And I was looking in slightly the wrong place. I was looking in the inspector here, but actually the text is a child of the button. Sorry,
That's
I missed
right.
that. Yep. So I guess I just changed this to
Press me. Something. First scene, yeah.
Okay, great. Well, that solves that problem.
Okay. All right. I'm going to get onto the scene management in a second. I just realised I neglected to talk about input fields. That would be fun to do too, wouldn't it? Another UI element is the input field. So click on the canvas or around the, click on the canvas and then go down to the UI and let's add a input field, TextMesh Pro input field. I won't do drop downs today, but I thought it'd be quite cool to just show you how an input field works. If you wanted to play with drop downs, feel free to. a little bit later on, but let's just get an input field working. Add an input field there, and again, you can move those around as you see fit. Your layout, stretch them and things like that. Enter text. Again, if you open up the input field, you will see text area, placeholder, and text. Enter text is in the placeholder, so you can type whatever you want, the prompt for your user there. Type here. Okay. Now let's get that working. Right, this is the fun part. This is the bit I like. We type public input field. What is it? I have to copy paste it. That's one. Public TMP input field. Oh, not there, not there. Everything goes under public class manager. Between that and the start. There we go. So at the top you've got some libraries and stuff that you're going to be using. Then you've got the name of this script, public class name of script, manager 1. Then your first parentheses, your first bracket, curly bracket, and then under that we're going to put our first public game object. We're going to call that. While we're there, let's also put in a public text display just underneath that, and a public button. Okay, let me break that down for you. Public means it will be visible in Unity and you can drag and drop things into it. The TMP input field, the TMP text, and the button, that tells you what kind of game object we're looking at. And the name on the right in black characters, that can be anything you want it to be. It's the name, what you're going to give that game object. So I'm going to put some crazy spelling in there so you know that it's not a reserved word. Button and display and input. Okay, you can call these anything you want. Right, so where do they appear, you're asking? We go back to the Unity console, and then they will appear under here in the manager. Hopefully, there we go. So this is our manager script, which we can close and open and reveal the public game objects. I've made a public input field, a public text, and a public button. And they are currently null. They don't have anything in there. You could click the little circle on the right and it will show you all the assets that are available to put them in there. Probably the easiest way to do it is to take that game object. We'll go the input first, shall we? You don't need to click the input. You just click the thing you want, like that. Hey. Click hold and drag it into there like that. That's the easiest way to do it. I'm going to rename this just to make it more personal. Inputty. So when I click the manager, I can see over here, Inputty is the name of that. And I click on that, and you can see where it is in the hierarchy. Okay, how about you guys see if you can figure out how to drag and drop the text and the button into the remaining 2 slots. I'll take a little breather, look over shoulders. How you doing?
ちょっと迷子になってます。
確かにね。マネージャー押しましょう。OK、じゃあこれダブルクリックしようか。There we go. Now, that red line means something's going wrong. Can we move it over? Yeah, there we go. Okay, after input IN, Tsuzuki is very important. TMP/IN. その次。No, no, 先は大丈夫。But input の続き IN、ネズミの N。あ、ごめん、それじゃなくて。
ごめんなさい。
インプットフィールドの IM じゃなくて I。
失礼しました。
T. There you go. And it will be no longer red. Yay! Now give it any name you want. Migi click. No, Migi ni. Oh, be careful, be careful. Oh, you got it, you got it. Anything you want. Kako nashitairo.
あ、
Kako bye bye. Blah blah blah. Romaji, romaji, romaji. Nandemui. Sparesu, sparesu. Input field. Tot namai aida akemasho.
あ、はい。
Right. And then colon, semicolon. And semicolon. Great. Excellent. You did it. That's a semicolon. Perfect. So there's no red in there. That means it's good. What I would do is I would highlight and copy paste. Like that. Copy and then paste. Now TMP, double click the TMP. That little thing. Now let's call that TEXT or TMP. No, no. This one here. TMP/TEXT. Underscore TEXT. There we go. And now that XXX has got a red line because mo tsukatta Betsu no namai. We'll work on naming those variables later. All right, and then there we go. Sugyo wa button. B, omoji B-U-T-T-O-N. Space, give it a name. Good, okay, save and go back to the Unity editor. Wait 3 seconds and kokoni mirio. There we go, excellent. Ja kono input field o kokoni ochimasho, otoshimasho. Keep going, daijoubu mo skoshi mo sko. Oh. Kono hako no naka ni. So just like that. Oh, looks like you selected the wrong thing. Not that, the input field. Oh, that's not a TMP input field. That's okay. That's quite interesting. You're using a different, you're using a different editor, and that's fine. What shall we do? Migi click UI. There's two kinds. There's the TMP, and you're using the other one. That's fine. Let's go with it. That's fine. That's fine. Go back to the C#, the editor, the manager, the script. Jakono TMP underscore delete. So just input field dake. Cool. And text more. TMP nashi. Text dake. Great. Save. Go back. Click on the manager. 3, 2, 1. Bring. Now try dragging the input field into here. Hey, tikta! Omedetou. じゃあ、あとこの2つね、text to button. Oh, careful, you've selected the manager, haven't you? Hi. How you doing? Something else?
Yeah.
Cool. What if this person's doing Unity? Are you doing Unity?
No,
Something else? Okay. How you doing, Laurie?
Oh, I'm just playing with the scripting.
Cool. Yeah, I'd love to. What have you done?
So, I've got my buttons and this, and then I've got my manager here. So they're all linked up
Lovely.
over here, a bit small, sorry. And then I've just been trying to, I want something to happen when I click the button.
Right.
So I'm sure you're going to do this soon.
That's coming soon.
So I've added this line
Oh, you're way ahead of us.
to print something out when I click the button.
That's right.
And then I think if I click play. Not quite sure what the errors there are, but if I click the button,
Down in the console. Button
I
click.
get a little log in my button
Lovely,
click.
lovely.
So that's what I've been messing around with.
Good.
But please continue.
Okie dokie. I just discovered something. I realized something that the different versions of Unity, some of them well, I mean, all editors can do the TMP. It's kind of becoming standard now with Unity. If you don't have TMP installed, not a huge problem. Just remove the TMP underscore from there and it becomes a normal input field. For some reason, it's... What's the difference? TMP, whoa, what's going on here? TMP seems to have a whole lot more features for layout and stuff like that. The input field is just a very basic version of it. Either will work fine for what we're doing today. Okay, so let me refer to my notes. Okay, so let's get something from that input field box. Input field. So I'm just going to copy paste this. Well, why don't I type it in? That's how we'll do it. Our input field. Choose which input field we're doing. We're going to play with. You can move it around anywhere you like. I'm going to double click that input. I'm going to use this one. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it. And then I'm going to click dot and on end edit. So this is why I like Visual Studio because it's so predictive. Really helpful. I couldn't do this in a text editor. What are you using? Visual Studio.
Visual Studio Code, but I don't have any like plugins installed for for Unity.
Right. Well, it's C#.
Yeah.
But there are some Unity specific stuff in there.
I just installed the C# plugin, but I don't know how to get predictive things in there. I'm sure there is a way.
Yeah. Visual Studio just works beautifully with Unity. Anyway, you can type it up manually, or you can cut and paste it from the Google Doc. We're going to take that input field game object. We're going to add dot on end edit and then add listener. Okay, so when we type something to that box and hit the return, we want the program to listen to it. Let me just check my notes. We want a curly bracket. I noticed the way Laurie was doing it was a little bit different. This is the way I'm used to doing it. I do curly brackets and then I put a delegate in there. Don't ask me what a delegate is, but I know that it works. And then round brackets. Hang on. Forget how to do it. I'm sorry. Add listener and then round brackets, delegate. Come on, spelling. Delegate. And then the curly brackets. And then after the round bracket, is a semicolon. Gosh, that looks ugly, doesn't it? So you've got curly brackets after a delegate, and that will be all within round brackets. And if you've got it just right, and you're in Visual Studio, you'll have no red curly lines underneath it. If you did something wrong, like that, Visual Studio will tell you that it's wrong by giving you a little red line underneath it, and the code won't run. So if you've got something looking similar to that, we can proceed. Spaces, tabs, indents, it doesn't matter with C#. So whatever happens inside these curly brackets will happen when we hit return on that input field. So we can do, wouldn't it be cool to just print out what was in that input field box, so we've got something to do, to play with. And that's very easy. You can use debug.log or, as I do, print round brackets, and then we'll take that input game object, input field game object, dot text. Close the brackets, semicolon. Okay, print or debug.log will make it visible in the console, but we want something a bit more interesting. Let's display that in our text display. So I'm going to take that text display, copy paste it down underneath that print I just made. Dot text equals, we're going to assign the input field text to the text display dot text, like that. Suzuri Taihen. Listener. There we go. That looks pretty good. No red lines. Curly brackets, no either. Neat. Print input dot text. Hits your janai. So Tsugigachimani. Text display dot text. There we go. Ine.
What's the difference between doing a delegate like this and doing a function like I wrote? I don't know what delegate means.
Show me your one again.
Yeah, sure. This was my one. Let me make it a bit bigger. I was doing it like this. So I wrote a function here.
Ah.
And then so whenever there's a click on the button, this function runs.
Right, that's a...
But I'm just sort of trying to follow your idea with the delegate. I think delegate is a C-sharp keyword, and I don't really know C-sharp.
I don't know how to explain what delegates are, just that I know how to use them.
Sure, well, I'll keep following your pattern. And
what I like about them, I've seen what you've done with the little arrow. Isn't that called like a lambda or something?
Yeah, it's an anonymous function.
I have used that once before, but I don't understand those either. What I
like
about
I think
this,
it's doing very much the same thing as this.
Yeah, what I know how to do with this is like once I've got those curly brackets, I can put loads of code in there. And I know where it is. It's just going straight on the end of that, on end edit on that listener, right? I'm not sure how to use what you've done. I don't know what the difference is, but this one works. So that's what I do. Okay, let's run it and see what happens. We'll go back to my Unity editor. Let it reload. Click to play. I'm going to highlight my console too to see what happens. There's those Hello Worlds things that came up before. Hello World. Type here. Okay, I will. Pineapple. How about that? It's a really good word. So I type the word pineapple in the box, and when I hit return, putting, nothing happens. Why? Because I didn't drop my game objects into these little boxes, did I? That's very important. Let's see. Input field TMP is in there. Cool. Text is not in there. Text display. These are very important. And I might as well put the button in there too. I'm going to be using the text display and the input field. Input 1 is a normal text field. I'm not using that, so it can be empty. That should be okay. Let's try again. You've got to connect up the script to the game objects. Let's try again. Pineapple. And hit the return button and zhazing, yay! Very simple. Hello world, pineapple. Type it again, blah, 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 blah. And it changes every time you type something into the input field. Pretty basic stuff. Right, I think it's time we got into scene management. Still got a few more tricks I want to share with you. Scene management. Now, as I mentioned, there was in a Unity game, there are scenes. To see what scenes are in your actual game that you're going to take to the App Store, you click on File, you scroll down till you get to Build Settings. Or you can do, what's that, Shift Command B if you're on a Mac. Open up the build settings and you should have a window that looks something like this. Now we're going to do two things here. We're going to make sure we're on the right platform. It's currently, my one is ready to build to Windows or Mac or Linux. I could build to an Android or an iOS, but today I think I'd like to do a WebGL. So I highlight the WebGL and down the bottom right, Megi start, switch platform. Bring. That'll take a moment or two. just switching over the platform. Now the next thing we're going to do is add scenes. The scenes in the build currently are none. There's two ways to do that. You can add the open scene, the scene that you're currently using. Might as well click that, sure. And that'll be my 0 scene, my first scene, okay? Another way to do it is you can go from your projects, from the assets, click on the scene you want to add, drag and drop it. So I want to have these 2 scenes in there. And you can choose which order you want them to be in. I want my 0 sample scene to be my first scene. Okay, and then I'm going to close that. Right, back in our manager, we're going to double click the manager, go back here, and my button is going to change scenes, this button here. Okay, so we go down to our start, before or after the input listener, add listener, it doesn't really matter, I might put it above that. Button, dot, on, click, dot, add listener, round bracket, delegate, curly bracket, after the round, closing bracket, a semicolon. And now we've got a listener ready to go. I might even, just because I've got a bit of time on my sleeve, print clicked, just so I know when something comes up in the console. And then to change scenes, I'm going to type in scene, how do we do that? Scene management, forgot. I have to refer to my notes. There we go, scene manager, load scene 1. That's the code we want. Uh-oh, back over here. Hang on, I've got this open and I don't need it open. That's the one I'm using. Okay, too many windows open. Okie dokie, back to our C#. Right, so at the top of here we had using Unity Scene Management, and that's a class or something, and inside there is a neat little trick called Load Scene. So when I click the button, it's going to load a scene number 1, but I don't want it to do that, I want it to load scene number 0, which is, no, I'm sorry, 1, because I am in scene 0 at the moment. It'll load the other one. Why scene 1? In the build settings, each of those scenes has a number, and they start from 0, as so many things in computers do. Scene 0 is the first scene that opens, that's going to be my menu scene, and I want to click a button to go to the second scene, the new scene, which has currently nothing in it. I might just quickly put a button in there, a return button. So if I just go down to UI, give me a button, boom, creates a canvas, doing exactly the same thing as we did before. Make a manager, manager 2, add a component, manager 2, create add, double click that, double click that. Now in Visual Studio I can quickly switch between my tabs. I'm just going to do some copy pasting. Copy paste all that stuff in there, particularly the TMP Pro and the engine.ui. I'm going to take my button, copy, and paste it. I'm going to take my button on click, add listener, and paste that into the start like that. But this one is going to load scene 0. Just rip through all that quite quickly. And go back to my Unity editor. Click on the manager 2, drag that button in there. If you double click the button or an element in there, it will zoom in on it like that. Good to know. Make it a bit bigger and easier to find. So what I'm doing now is what we just did. So you know how to do this. I know I'm going real fast, but it's just practice, isn't it? So I'm going to double click my zero sample scene again, my home menu, and let's see if it works. Click the play. Now I've got a little script attached to this button. When I click that button, let's see if it works. Click. Yay, it goes to my second scene. When I click that button again, boom, it goes back to the first scene. Have we got anything in the console to tell us what happened? Clicked. So if I double click that clicked, it'll go to that point in the script, which is quite handy. So I've got two scripts, I've got two scenes. Each scene has a manager, and each of those managers has its own unique script. And each of those scripts has a little bit of code attached to a button that will navigate it to the other scene. The first scene is 0, and I can get to that from the second scene. And the first scene will load scene 1, which is the second scene. Very intuitive. Okay, it's almost like a little website, clicking between pages. Okay, I know we're streaming through it, it's 6:05, so I'd like to introduce to you some 3D stuff. This stuff is fun. Let's say that back in Unity here, we've got two scenes. This is our menu scene, and in the second scene, this will be where we put our 3D stuff, eh? I'm gonna put my button a little bit more down the bottom. Now I'm gonna type, oh, what should we do? Let's put a box in there. In the hierarchy, double click or right hand click, go down to 3D object, and we'll start with a cube. How about that? Bop. Where is that cube? If you click the cube, and on the right hand side you've got this inspector, and you can see exactly where it is. There's the X, Y, Z coordinates. I'm going to zero that out, 0, 0, 0. And again, if you double click the cube, it'll zoom in on it. Watch this, 1, 2, 3, boom, there's my cube. It looks like a square though. So up in here there's a 2D button, click on that. Oh, now it's 3D. 2D, looks like a square. 3D, it's a cube. Okay, now if I click on a Mac, it's the Alt Option key, is that right? Yeah. And you get a real 3D feel for it. And those arrows again, you can move it around in the scene, up and down. The Q, W, E, R. The R will stretch it this way and that. The E will rotate it. Ooh, that's neat. The W will move it along those axes. Okay. Now if you wanted to play with other objects, there are a variety of primitives, spheres. Let's put a sphere in there. There's a 3D object, there's a capsule, there's a plane. That should be enough for now. And you can move them around. I don't think you're going to see much difference if you rotate a sphere. You can do the usual Control All, Command A, select everything. Move them around, see how they look. Okay, we've got some 3D stuff going on in there. That's cool. Now if we press play, nothing will happen. But if you want to see them behave like real things, we've got to add a rigid body. I'm going to make this just above that, just for fun, so it might hit that. Right, let's add rigid body, no, one at a time. My cube, which looks like a big brick, I'll highlight that once. There's an orange line around it. It's selected. And in the inspector at the bottom right, add component. And the component we're going to be adding is called a rigid body. So we start typing rigid body, R-I-G-I-D. Body, not 2D, just a normal rigid body. And there's lots of components on this object, so I'm going to close some of them up. because I only want to look at the rigid body right now. I think automatically, oh no, they come with colliders, okay. Anyway, I want to look at the rigid body. In the rigid body, there are some cool little ones. This one, I think they're pre-selected. Use gravity. You can turn gravity on or off. Wouldn't touch anything else. Oh, constraints. If you wanted to stop it from moving on the X, the Y, or the Z planes, you can freeze those by clicking them. Those are kind of interesting to play with. Or if you wanted to freeze the rotation, if you didn't want it to swirl around, you could click on these. You can play with that in a second. Once you've got a rigid body on it, I've got one on my cube. It's using gravity. What do you think is going to happen? Let's see. Play. Here we go. It's falling. Falling away. Might be nice to have a floor under it. Okay. Now.
I'm falling at the first hurdle.
Did it fall?
Where
are we at?
On rigid bodies, and so I'm trying to add a 3D item to my scene.
Right.
But
okay.
I can't. How do I put it in the right place for the camera? So I go here.
Double click. Here we go.
Make a 3D object.
There we go. Good. You've
So
got
it's
it
here.
That's where it is.
But then when I go play, can't see it because the camera's not pointing in the right direction, or the cube is not in front of the camera.
Oh, that's an excellent point. Click on the cube
Okay.
in the hierarchy on the left,
Yeah.
and you can see where it is in X, Y, Z. So on the right-hand side, the position's at 518, 265.
0, 0, 0, good place to start.
Zero it all out. Zero it all out.
So I'm made it in the wrong place, I guess.
Yep,
So let's put it like that.
that's right. If you click on the game now, in the middle, yep, there's
Right.
the game next to the scene.
Where am I clicking? Game.
See the scene tab?
Here.
Nope, to the right a bit. Then there's a game one. Up. That one.
Oh,
there.
okay.
That's what it will look like
Oh,
on your device.
that's the view from the camera.
Right. Now, if you click on the camera in the hierarchy on the left,
Yep.
and look at the position of it, it's nearly 0, 0, 0. It's
A bit,
default minus
a bit
10.
away from 0.
So with that, you can, if you change those factors, you can sort of those variables, you can see it moving in and out close. Oh yeah, or you can use the arrows to sort of move it closer to your.
Oh, I see, so I can see what I'm. That's better. That's better.
Yeah.
Okay. And so then when I press play,
The box should just stay there if you've added no
Fantastic.
rigid body.
thank you.
Not at all. Try adding a rigid body to it and see it
So
fall
let's.
away.
I'm on the box,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to add a rigid body here, right?
Yep. RIG. Start typing RIG.
Rigid body.
Here it is, top one.
3D.
Yep.
So I can choose its mass, its drag,
Yeah, you can play with-
gravity, yes, no.
You've got the gravity on, it should work straight away.
So if I click play,
Yeah,
I'm expecting it to fall, right?
that's what we hope. Way, goodbye.
Nice. Awesome, thank you.
Okay, so it took me a while to figure this one out. There's a thing called a collider. I'm just going to check my notes here. Hierarchy, right click, 3D object, cube, cylinder, etc. Okay, we can do that. We can use the QWER to move around and scale. Use the option key to rotate the scene so you can look at what you're doing. Let's make a floor underneath everything that things will bounce off. So I'm going to make a big old cube. UI, 3D object, cube, right there. Now in the top here, there's like a little colourful, what do you call it, spindly thing. And that gives you the orthographics, I guess, or this perspective or orthographic, sorry. So you can really lay out things. I'm going to look from above. I'm going to stretch it out real wide, so I know that it's underneath everything. It's bigger than everything. I'm going to go to the front. I'm going to make it a little bit thinner. I'm going to hit my W to move it beneath everything. So the idea is that these things are going to fall onto that and make a mess. Now they all have to have, just check my notes, this is important. Right, so the floor must have a collider but not a rigid body. It took me a while to figure this out. Okay, so I'm going to call this big thing here my floor. And this one has, again, a collider, but no rigid body. 3D objects come default with a collider. This little thing here detects when things smash into other things. So you don't need to do anything to the floor. But the things above the floor that we want to bounce off the floor, make sure they have a rigid body attached to them. I've only attached a rigid body to one of them. Maybe I'll leave it like that. The other ones have nothing attached to them. All right, that should work. Let's see what happens. I want this brick to bounce off the floor. Here we go. Bounce, please, bounce. Oh, it worked. That's great. I don't know if we've got time to go into materials or colours. That'd be quite cool, though. Yeah. That might have to be for another day. Oh, let's see if we can quickly have a look at the cube floor. Oh, wait. Look at that. That was easy, wasn't it?
Nice.
Just grab a 2D image and drop it onto your floor. Well, that worked really well. That's great. I've got my frog working. Hooray for me. Okay. So what do I want to do now? I've got things bouncing around in 3D. Let's make a spaceship. Yeah. My spaceship will be, I might make this capsule, might be my spaceship. I'm going to name it Spaceship. It's got a collider and no rigid body. Okay. Rotational drag to high. Okay. Okay, I'm going to double click on my spaceship. There it is. Now, watch this. Here's my spaceship capsule. I'm going to make the camera a child of the spaceship capsule, like that. So you can see the camera is, as you can see, the camera is miles away from my capsule. Okay, so what I want to do is move my, see the bottom right here, that's what the camera can see. I'm going to move my camera a bit closer to my capsule, like that. All right. And if I hit the E, I can rotate it so I get a nice view. So now my capsule, my camera is a child of the capsule, so it means whenever I move this capsule here, the camera is going to follow it around. See it in the game view. All right, so I want to move that capsule and take the camera with me. That's what we're going to do. How do we do that? Whew, let's get our manager ready. Double click my manager 2. Now might be time to do some copying and pasting because we're running low on time. We got these in there, systems, collections, generic, and Unity engine. Make sure those are in there. They should be, just the once. They are, groovy. I'm going to add these 3 public game objects. Well, one of them is a game object, a very generic game object. The other 2 are going to be little floats, which are a type of number. I'll just put them underneath my button, I guess. So these will be variables that will turn up in the inspector in the Unity editor. I could prove it to you, but I know you believe me. Go back to my script here. Okay, so I mentioned before, there we go, turn speed, move speed, turn speed, and the thingy. So thingy is going to be my, that's a terrible name, isn't it? I want to change from thingy to spaceship. How about that? No, what? I'm going to keep it as thingy because I'm cutting and pasting all over the place. Okay, so my thingy is going to be my spaceship. I want to move my spaceship capsule, drop it, drag it into thingy. Okay, now we can play with that in the code. Go back to my cut and paste. Now we're going to be putting some code into the update. which I mentioned before gets called often, every frame. How much code is there? Why don't we just copy paste the whole code and then we can get moving with it. So if you've got access to that Google Doc, find this, everything between the curly brackets and the update, Control C, go back to C#, find the update, there it is down below, and paste. Oh, that looks much nicer than in the Google Doc. I can break this down a little bit now.
Nice.
So once every frame, this update method is going to be called. And what is it going to do? It's going to be looking for keystrokes from the computer, from the keyboard. I've put a little print, little breadcrumb in there so I can see when I press the left-hand button. So if you know anything about computer programming, you might have come across the word if. If this happens, then do that, right? So the input will be a get key, which is after the dot, after the input. And the name of this is left. That's almost like a reserved word that Unity has set aside for the left arrow key on the keyboard. It knows what that is. As is right, up and down, these are the arrow keys on your keyboard. A is, guess what? The A key on your keyboard. Okay, and then after that is some big ugly code. You don't need to really know in detail how it works, you just need to know that it works. There's two kinds. Excuse me, there's rotate. So thingy is our spaceship. Excuse me, and I'm asking C# to look for a component of the type transform. Transform is the X, Y, Z and the Mookie, the direction. And of that transform, I want to rotate it. This is an X, I think, and a Y, and a Z, and where do I want it in the space self? We don't have time to get too much into those details, but know that this rotate will change the rotation. And the other one down the bottom is translate, which will move it in the X or the Y or the Z. I've got this A and Z. A will be my go forwards, and Z will be my go backwards. These two translates will move that forward and backward. You can figure it out if you want to move them like a crab, strafing, or up and down like an elevator. But for this spaceship, it'll only go forwards and backwards, left and right, and rotate up and down, which is, what's that, a pitch, I think. Okay, so copy paste that in. Let's see if it's just going to work straight away. Whoopsie, back to the Unity editor. Oh, this move speed and this turn speed at 0, I don't think much is going to happen. I'm going to see what happens if I put 1 in there. I can't remember what was a good number. Soon find out. Right, so ready for takeoff and play. Nope, there's a bug. What is the bug? Let's go to the console. Excellent learning opportunity. Type namespace, end of file, where is that? Wow, I'm going to double click it and see where I go. Hopefully I'll see a little red line. Oh, look at that, I've got too many curly brackets. How embarrassing. Bye-bye curly bracket. Control save, return to the editor, rebuild, reload, and play. Now hopefully, oh, here we go. I'm going to press the left arrow key on my keyboard. Here we go, and oh, it's moving very slowly. Apparently 1 was a number that might be a bit too small. You know, I don't even need to press stop. I can enter new variables in there in runtime. Let's see if 5 is a good number. A little bit faster. Maybe 20. That's a bit better. Hey, woo! We've got some speed on that. Whoa. We've made a spaceship game. And you can see these yaw lefts. That comes every time I press the left key. This will come up in the console. All right then, I'll give you all a chance to play with that, see if you can make it work.
thought I might just show off what I've been working
What
on.
have you got?
Nothing crazy.
Just
but-
quietly built Final Fantasy over there, did you?
So,
Wolfenstein 3D.
it's my thing. So, like we had before, you know, you could put your name in and change all that. And then
Cool.
I finally got the moving to a different scene working. And I got my little 3D scene
Like a Rube Goldberg.
falling. So the way I did this is that cube, if you take a look at the cube,
Yeah, I
you
know
can
what you did.
freeze the position
Yeah,
of the rigid body, but the rotation's not frozen.
that's right. That's that
So
cube in
I
the middle.
think if I move that sphere a little bit to a corner maybe, it will rotate kind of in both directions.
Floppy crazy angle. That's beautiful.
Which is nice. And I also did the build, so that's the stream, but the same thing
Oh, well
going
done.
on here. I built it and it's running in the browser, so you could deploy
Yeah.
this, put it on your website,
Exactly.
have it running. And the actual file size is not too big, it's only a few megabytes, so it's quite
Yeah.
manageable.
So, to get this, you clicked build and run, I presume.
Build and run. yeah.
Right.
So you've got to make sure you've got all your scenes in
The build, yeah.
the build. And so you've got your scenes here, you change the settings, build and run. There was one issue I had with colors in the player settings, but I just, the error message was very good, so I just changed that.
Good, good.
And the other thing I've been messing around with is, haven't quite got this doing anything, but you can make requests, web requests
Oh,
on, so right now all this is doing is it's getting some weather information
What?
and it's not doing anything with it, it's just logging it. But I thought it'd be cool if we could maybe, you know, change the color of the sphere based on the temperature or you know, have it
Right.
respond to something
Right, cool.
from the internet, which I thought
The
would be
Unity web request, I believe, is being deprecated.
cool. Is it?
It's www.
What is the new way of doing
Let's
it?
see if I can just
Because I was
Copy
looking in
table.
the,
www.form equals.
I think forms are for sending post requests, right?
Yeah, posts. And
But I'm
gets.
trying to get, I'm just doing a get request.
It works with gets too.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, so
And
I don't know what the best way of doing that is, but I'd love to try.
From the weather.
Well, I thought you could make it rain if it's raining outside, because I was just looking out the window thinking, oh, it's raining.
You totally could.
So, or you could change the color, or you could have a
Yeah.
thermometer that gets bigger and smaller for the today's temperature.
Oh, cool.
Just have it as a fun little widget on your website, maybe.
Yeah. All right then. How are we doing over here? Did you get the camera thing working? No? Let's see if we can make it something we can
迷子に
publish.
なりすぎてちょっとついていけなくなった。
Okay.
でも
Press
カ
play.
メラを
What happens when you press play?
もうどこでついていけなくなったかもわかんない。
ちょっとプレイしてみよう
プレイしてみます。はい。Nothing happened.
What's your console? Oh, my eyes are terrible. We've got Hello World. Okay, groovy. Okay then, press stop and just double click one of those and you go straight to the code. Dip, dip. There we go. This is... Oh, okay, this is still the first scene, right?
そうそうそう。
Okay.
セカンドシーンに行けなくて、もうついていけなくなっちゃった。
Okay. Let's try. Have you got the Google Doc? Google Doc ありますか？
これ事前に配布されてたやつとか何か資料があるってことですか？
Oh, okay. Campus event. Can you find 今日の event? Engineer Cafe の event.
あ、はい。
Yeah, あれ見つけたら
あー、すみ
そ
ません。
こにリンク
ちょっと見れなかった。
探しましょう。
す
あ、もう載せたばかりけど。
いません。あー、いや大丈夫です。あ、じゃあそこに資料があったってことです
Yeah,
ね。
let's do that. そっちの方が早いからね
わか。りました。
全部タイピングはちょっとめんどくさいから。
いや。
Have you got a bookmark or anything?
あ、あり
あそっちがいい
ですけど、じゃないです。
Okay. So there are people watching this live right now. How can we, do we know how many viewers?
Word, but maybe some of them dropped off.
No questions in the chat or anything?
On the chat.
Is it a Zoom?
It's just a YouTube video.
YouTube live, YouTube, cool. Found it. There's me. That's my name. That's my name. Should be here. Refresh. 今開けたばかりね。これ Can you find this? Install Unity 参加者の情報 There we are あった Copy paste ね That Google Doc opened okay for you, didn't it?
Yep.
Hey, omedetou. Okay, so in that document, let's go back to Unity. Do we have two scenes? 2番目のシーンがある There we go. そこになんか箱とかキューブとかありますかね There we go. 素晴らしい Alright, we've got a manager. Click on the manager. Inspector. We haven't got a script there yet. Okay, so let's make a script. Manager 2でいいね。なんでもいい。OK。That's manager 1. Where's manager 2? There's manager 2. Okay, if you go back to the Google Doc, go down for the, find the red G. それですね。OK。上、この3つコピーペースト。そのスタートの上。これゴミ、これゴミ。そう。開けましょう。return。OK。その辺で、はい、ペースト。Great。素晴らしい。そして、このちょっとしたアップデートの過去の中のやつ全部コピーペースト。Oh, there we go. There we go. Perfect. Copy, and you've copied the update too. So この過去からこのゴムまで。
16秒目。
そう、そうそう16から20。 これでペーストしようか。いいね。OK。赤のやつかな、エラーがない。
でも1個だけ。
はい、それ消すね。
はい。
Alright, save. And Unity に戻りましょう。あとちょっと、素晴らしい。じゃあ、Thingy に、spaceship どれかを入れて。OK。0よりも、I think maybe 20が良かった。大体。
動きの。
はい、どっちも20でしょう。Alright, press play. Let's see if it works. Is it playing? Try the arrows. Console, so Hidari arrow? Hidari, ne? Hidari, ne?
失礼失礼。
Why? Huh? Okay, stop. I mean, stop, stop, Shilpa. What is that? Okay. Double click Shilpa. That's curious. Clear that gully. Yeah. 今は2番目ね。Control save 一応。Save しない。はい、save した。One more time. That's what your game will look like. I think it's playing. Press the button. Ah. I think I know. Stop. File. So, sorry, edit. Oh no, I'm sorry, file. Build settings. Yeah, buddy, we need to add open scene. Now we've got 0 and 1. Okay, good. Okay, just sorry, shimimashou. And try playing again. Press the button. I know what we didn't do. Okay, stop. That's okay. We didn't make a script for this button, that's why. That's okay. Double click the capsule. Dum dum. Oh, there it is. Okay, great. Click the manager. なるほどね。なるほどかな。スフェアよりもキャプションしましょう。
マネージャーなんで。
Hold. Drop. Okay, let's try now. Console. Hidari. 押したならんね。
これ左押すと次のエラーが出てくるってことですか？
いや、中に出るからね。じゃあ一回ストップ。Double click that. Oh, sorry, the script. Let's open the script again. Manager 2. Double click Manager 2 script. All right, start ni. Print hello. Kako akete. Marui kako. Chon chon. Hello. And then semicolon. Okay. So now we can see, save that. We can see if it's even calling the script. It should be. Hello, nothing, so it's calling that script. Yeah, it's found the script. Okay, let's have a look at the script, shall we? well, we've got your left. Let's copy, paste, print hello. And let's put it at the beginning of the update, if no mai. And then return. Okay, cool. And hello yorimo something else. Just XXX.
あ例えば OK
Yeah. Hello to, okay. Save and play. So it's found the script. Is it finding the update? It should be. I don't know why it wouldn't. Yep, it's going to the update. Okay, so stop that. Yep, back to the update. Update middle. Back to the script. There's a Windows kara. Ja, kore gomi kara ne. Hello to bye bye.
A question if you've got a moment.
Hold that thought. Try some of these. It seems to not know the key you're talking about, I think. So if input get key T, print T. Try that. Try some other input get keys. T and a space. 上の2つ。ちょっとやってみようか。What's in your mind, Elon?
I want to add, so you know we added all those things to our script.
Mm-hmm.
I want to add a capsule to my script so I can change its size.
Right, make it a child so it will move with it.
Not to move with it. So I want it here. You know, I want to add. You know, we've got the name input on my script. I've got the text display on my script. I've got the move button on my script. I want the capsule on my script so I can change the capsule with code.
Is it public?
So what? I don't know what type it would be. If I got
It's a game object.
game, anything, game object.
Mm.
Will that come up here somehow?
Looks like you've got an error going on there. What's that red thing saying?
Okay, that's 32. Do I have to import that from somewhere? It was working for a minute.
Oh gosh, pass.
I'll ignore that. That's not important for now.
Commented out. There we go.
I can sort that out later. Okay, great. So I got that.
That's your thermometer.
Sweet. And I want to change its size with code. Is it just pass? I don't know.
Pass.int. You want
pass?
something like that, yeah.
That doesn't feel right. It should be capital.
I always have to look that one up every time I use it.
No, I've never written C#.
Any luck with that? Oh, we've got errors. Hit the console so we can find out what that error is. Oh, we need 過去が足りないみたい。ダブルクリック。ダブルクリックそしてそのエラーのところに行く。
私が今これを2つ
あ、これは2個ですね。左は1個。
ここが
Oh, no, 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 that's okay. I'm sorry, that's okay. 何がおかしい What said the error was それはおかしいらしい。1, 2, 1, 2. あ、これがおかしい。あ、29。はい。29の過去バイバイ。そしてあと1個つけて。いやー、セーブ。コンソール見ましょうか。そしてスペースをして。Arrow 2 equals ごめん、目が悪い。
文字ちっちゃい
今
ですね。
playing いい？ちょっと遊んでいい？
もちろん。
ありがとう。What I'm going to do now is it's hard to see if it's playing or not. If you go to okay. Clear on play definitely. Space works. Great. T doesn't work. Oh, gotcha. T works, okay. Now then, what is our spaceship capsule? Let's call that. Uh-oh. Ah! What am I doing? Capsule. Yeah. I want to rename this. I'm not used to PCs. Rename. Space ship. Hakiri Sayak. Copy out of Subarashi. All right. Now, let's make that at 0, 0. No, that's okay there. Where are we? A camera. Make that a child of that. Ooh. 0, 10, 0, 10, 0. 8. Okay. It's working.
Oh.
It's working. Oh, let's go. Shibats. Oh, and this button should take us back to the main menu, but it doesn't. Because in this main manager, we didn't put the E, the button script, main manager 1. Okay, we haven't put anything in for the button yet, have we? So let's copy. How do I do copy? Got it? Okay, manager 2. Me, up there. paste. All right. Go to manager 1. Oh no, we didn't do button. We need a button code in there. So in the Google Docs, koreo copy paste.
そうですね。
Copy paste. Dochimon manager 1, top manager 2.
ペースト
So
する
start no naka.
スタートのここら辺
No, don't. Okay, yo. Right, ine.
こ
Oh, not that one.
こ
Control Z. Yeah, bye bye that. Control Z. Yeah. Bye bye. There we go. Nice. Now for you. Okay. No. Update Janai. Start. No, no. So. Wait. Kako no naka ne. Okay. Now,
これどこだ
why is that okashi? You need Unity Engine .ui. Ichiban ue. Make sure you've got UI and also scene management more. Yes, great. Okay, now your button is good. Kono button name to kore wa chigau kara isho ni shimashou. Make them the same.
そしたら
Great.
一緒なんだ
Excellent. Now this is manager 2. We want this button to go to 0. The second scene, press the button 0 ni ikimasu. So manager 1, not button, onde got oshitara, 1 ni nakimasu. That's good.
まあそう
じゃあ次これとこれ一緒にしよう。Save. はい。Oh, but soon.
コントロールが
There we go. See if those buttons work now.
はい
It looks good. Let's have a look at Unity. Oh, we need to put the button in there. So find that button, drag that button into there. Okay, that's scene 2 or scene 1. And scenes, yeah. Double click scene. 0. Double click. Yes, save. Manager 1. Click on the button. You also need to put, well, you don't have to if you don't want to, the text and the input fields in here. How are we doing for time? Oh gosh, we've only got 5 minutes left.
すいません
That's okay. じゃあこれを忘れましょうか。
お
それは宿題になります。
はい
I'm sure you can figure it out. One last thing I'd like to do before we wrap things up is to see if we can publish it to WebGL. Wonder if we can do that in 5 minutes. Let's have a go. So when you have got your work of art ready to go, you go to the file, you go to the build settings, and you, why? That's strange. Huh. I didn't expect that. Yeah. if that'll work. It worked. Okay, sorry about that. Testy. I'm going to build this to the desktop. Hold on, it says. Of course, you can just build and run it like Laurie did, and you can see it in the browser quite quickly. Why don't you open up your build settings? Kono window arcade. Hopefully yours will be ready to go. Oh, you've got that weird error too. Player settings. Oh, kochi. Linear. Oh, sorry. So, where, linear. 右、linear. So, oh, gamma にして。これ。Change. I know. そして僕はハイクオリティからロークオリティにしました。そしてよかった。そう。いいね、ロークオリティ。Okay. Good, 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 good. 注意のが消えたからね、大丈夫。それ決してビルドはできる。Alright, desktop or wherever you like. 好きな場所に名前何がいいじゃあこれキャンセルしましょうか。Let's just do build and run. Folder. I'm not familiar with Windows so much. Folder? これファイルの名前じゃない。あ、じゃあデスクトップ。ここでフォルダあれば選択か。OK、いいね。あ、はい。Build and run したね。フォルダ選択 OK。それで OK じゃない？ OK
ですか、はい。
なってる？なってないね。
ビルドするとなんか書き出されるファイルがビルドしたらファイルが書き出されるんですか？これって今からやってるのって。
You shouldn't be able to do that right now if that was the case. Can I see the desktop? Maybe desktop でなんか自動に作ればフォルダ。There it is. Folder 作って Nice name. Cool. Back to Unity. Build. このプレイヤーも消してよ。Okay, let's try build and run. さっきのフォルダにつけましょう。Okay, surely that's okay. Here we go, here we go. いい感じだな。
そういうこと。
Hey, great. 素晴らしい。Did you make a itch.io account を作った itch.io? Okay. It's pretty easy. If you have some time, you can load your WebGL このアプリはそこにアップロードができる。そして世界が見られる。インターネットで見られる。お、なった。
Oh, I think I've got something. Hang on.
You got something?
I'll try this.
Hey, what are you doing, Laurie?
Click get the temperature, and it tells you the temperature of the city. If I was a better 3D modeler,
Laurie, that's amazing.
if I was a better 3D modeler, I could probably build a thermometer and make it look all nice.
So type in a cold place.
Where's a cold place? I don't know what will happen with a minus number. I don't think it'll work very well, but let's do like London.
North Pole, London.
Smaller. Where's somewhere hot?
Egypt.
What's Cairo? Let's do.
Cairo, there we go. Oh,
There
it's a
we
little
go.
bit hotter than London.
What about?
Only 21 degrees, must be night time. Brizzy, mate. 25 degrees.
That's the idea. So it's using a weather API
That's incredible.
to change the size of the 3D model.
Beyond the scope. Well done.
But all good stuff, and I've never done Unity. Your introduction was very, very good for me.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So,
It
thank
goes by so fast when you're in Unity land, doesn't it?
you. Yes.
Time
2
just
hours,
flies.
just like that.
Just like that.
I guess if there's no questions from the stream, then we'll finish off the audio of
Bye-bye.
the stream online. But thanks for everyone watching.
Not at all.
Anything, and thank you for Adam for your talk.
Thank
Anything
you
you
for
want to
having
add before we finish?
Like, follow, subscribe. I had fun. Oh, there's me. Hi. Yeah, that's what I look like. Nothing that I can think of right now. I'd hoped that we could publish. My goal was to publish a very simple app on itch.io.
So what's the next step if someone wants to publish what they made today?
The
on
next step. Well, this was your
itch.io?
homework. Everyone was supposed to make an account here. Go to the dashboard, stand by, create a new project, give it a title and things like that. When that's all ready, then you'd go to your builds, you'd go to build settings, you'd press the build, not build and run, but build, right there. And where that turns up on the desktop here, you compress it, you zip it, like that.
Oh,
So easy.
Just send it to itch.
And then just upload it in here.
Nice.
It's pretty straightforward. I don't think there was anything too hiccupy in there. Oh, there was
The
one little,
description and
that kind of thing. There's one button that says downloadable HTML. That one, the
Okay.
second one. You have to have a zip or HTML. That one, koredake chota.
nice.
And then you upload it somewhere. You can make some money if it's a really good app.
Yeah, awesome.
And you can embed the WebGLs in your favorite website too. And
Yes,
the whole
yes.
world can see it.
Wow, brilliant. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Not at all. Thank you very much for having me. Let's do it again.
Yes, let's do it again. Okay.